Hi everyone, my name is Kiran. Today I'm going to show you Windows Server 2016 failover cluster setup on Azure platform. So, like generally on premises, it's a very different compared to the Azure platform. So, like compared to 2019, little bit different here, 2016, and in the last, I already shown you in the another already one video is available. Install and configure the Windows failover cluster on Azure. At that point of time, I shown it's a Windows Server 2019 failover cluster setup. Now, I'm going to show you here Windows failover cluster 2016 with this, as well as I'm going to show you how to create a shared disk and how to attach it to both the missions, and as a cluster disk how to utilize it. I'm going to show you today topic. So before going to jump into the topic, if you are new to my channel, please subscribe and like and comment below, and it's thank you, and let's jump into the topic. So first of all, already we have domain controllers. I will show you this is my domain controller, and Win cluster 01 and Win cluster 02, two virtual machines is already available, as well as the two virtual machines is a domain join that particular, and Windows failover cluster role also, that feature, not role, and the feature is already installed, as well as I already create a load balancer also. Front end wise, it's a must and should required already. If you watch it's a previous video, you can understand. And same like here also, load balancer already created. These are internal load balancer. Why I created two IP address also, you will get to idea. And backend pool health probe I'm not created, and load balancing rule also I'm not created. I will create, I will show you how that is a configuration done. Okay, let's first of all go to the server level, OS level. This is a domain controller. Already have public IP address. Why? Because of I don't have much setup like Bastion. I'm not deploy anything on this right now through public IP address. This domain controller I try to log in, and I'm not assigning the any public IP address to this cluster servers. Win cluster 01. I can show you Win cluster 01 cloudpatashala.com domain, and it's a domain join mission. So I don't want this firewall. Let me turn off. This is a okay, good. And the same like one more mission, it's already available. That is a, you can see here 10.10.0.37. It's already available. And failover like server manager, this is a one, and you can see Win cluster 02 cloudpatashala.com. And this is also, I'm going to turn off domain firewall. I don't require. Okay, so it's a ready. Now, what is the next step? We need to set up the cluster. How to set up the cluster? Already I said is a role like that future is already installed. So if you see, go to add and roles and futures, and click on this is the roles. Failure cluster not available under these roles. This is the futures, and under this it's already failure clustering. It's installed. So that's the reason I'm saying. And minimize it. Any server, you can go, it's a Win cluster 01 or Win cluster 02, any VM. After that, go to the tools, failure cluster manager. I'm going to open. And after that, it's a failure cluster manager. This is the one, guys. It's a console. And right click on that and create a cluster. Right now, I don't have any cluster. That's the reason I'm going to create a cluster. So creating cluster, okay. And next, here I'm going to click on browse and give the name of the both the VMs. Win cluster 01, check the names, yes. And Win cluster 02, check the names, yes. Both the VMs is identified. Click on OK, and both VM is added with the fully qualified domain name, wincluster01.cloudpatashala.com, wincluster02.cloudpatashala.com, and click on next. And yes, when I click next, run the configuration validation test, and then return to the proceeding to the creating the cluster. Why? Because of it's all both the VMs, it's identical VMs is required. That's the reason the better is a validate the cluster configuration wise, everything it's a validated or not. So run all the test, click on next. So we are going to validate it, all the things here in like network, storage, as well as voice and everything. It's going to validate it for cluster purpose. So if it is a satisfy without any error, yes, we are ready to create a cluster. If it is any errors, first of all, we need to fix that errors. After that, we should create a cluster. Otherwise, we'll get the problems. Warnings, we can ignore it. Warnings, that's not a big deal. But only thing is a required, errors should not come. Errors, if it is available, we should troubleshoot it first. And after that, again, validate it. Again, we have to check it, the report, validation report. So let's wait for, and it's still it's currently running, and it won't take much time. It's just 1 or 2 minutes only, and you can see almost all test passed. And just wait for few seconds here. And once is completed, just I will show you the report also, validation report. And after that, we'll going to see the things. And we can see red highlighted is a some warning. I know that is a last video also I shown you. Same like here also, I'm going to show you. So it's loading. Okay, ask me later. And click on close it. This is a one, you can see report, and inventory is a success, network is a warning, and storage not applicable right now, and the system configuration success. Okay, warning, it's we can ignore it, already I mentioned. So I can close it and finish it. And now it's asking the cluster name. I can give the cluster name, win cluster. I can give win cluster instead of that one, something like a cluster 01. This is a way I'm providing the name. So depends on your requirement, you can give it the that name and click on next. And here you need to see add all eligible storage to the cluster. I don't require. That is a I don't require, and nothing is there. And click on next. It's a trying to create a cluster. Definitely like we'll get the problem. I can show you later on how to solve it also. I can show you that one. So right now forming the cluster 01. Okay, good. And finish it. Cluster is a created. But if you go to the cluster, roles nothing is available because of we are not created, and nodes both is up and running. Good. But if you see that cluster, still it's trying to get online, but it definitely will get the problem. Definitely will get the problem. So how to, okay, it's taking IP address of second node. So that means if you go to the nodes, and it's that node 2 is a down, because of that node 2, it's already taken cluster IP address. Due to that, we are getting the problem. Due to that, we are getting the problem. How to resolve it, this problem? So go to the Azure portal. Even it's this is okay, no problem. Both the VMs up and running only. And go to the portal. So I'm going to create a health probe for this first of all. After that, I will create a load balancing rule. Health probe cluster probe cluster probe 01. And suppose this is a cluster I'm going to use for my file share or something, any port number you can give it, guys. That's not a problem. Because of it's a one IP address, we are going to use it for cluster name purpose only. So depends on requirement, you can go ahead and give the port number. It's a health probe, it's a mandatory. And go to the load balancing rule, click on add. This is a cluster purpose. Win cluster rule 01, and it's a win cluster IP address 10.10.0.40, and win cluster pool. The two backend pools is added as a pool, and high available ports, and health probe, and session persistence I don't require. Ideal timeout depends on requirement. You can increase it up to 30 minutes maximum. We can keep it. Enable floating IP address. It's a must and should. This is a one, and save it. Now load balancing rule is going to created. Once is this load balancing rule is created, I'm going to change that cluster, and accordingly the both the nodes up and running. So that's going to happen. So it's a cluster rule, load balancing rule. It's a created. Go to the OS level, and this is a one of the node and cluster. And here I don't require this is the IP address. I want to keep it to the, so go to the properties, and instead of DHCP, I'm going to keep it the static and 10.10.0. Instead of 32, it's I'm going to provide it 40 and click on OK. So it's going to offline. Again, it will come online. It's yes. So now, first of all, offline, and it's assigning the IP address of 40. So you can observe, guys, in the 2019, we won't get the problem, and it's that node IP address only, that cluster name, it's going to utilize it. That is a feature available under 2019 onwards. So I already shown you that is a cluster distributed name wise, it's a utilize it. That is a new feature under 2019. But 2016, up to 2016, we must ensure one dedicated IP address for cluster name. The cluster is a cluster 01, then one dedicated IP address is required. That is a, right now I assign it. Go to the nodes, and trying to, you can see here, guys, and node 2 before 10.10.0.32, it's utilized. Due to that, that node 2 is not on cluster, it's offline. Now after assigning the one more IP address, the both the nodes up and running. So both the nodes up and running. So cluster is a ready, guys. And role, and we can see is a configure role. Last time also I shown you how to configure that role, as well as that IP address is a down, and how to static also I shown you. You can refer it. Now major agenda, one more point I mentioned, cluster shared disk. So how to create a cluster shared disk, and how to attach to the in the cluster. Like if you see in the storage disk, right now nothing is available. The disk is a, nothing is available. Even if you go to the file system, this PC and C drive and D drive only is available. E drive is a CD drive. Okay, so nothing other additional disk, it's not available. Now I'm going to create a clustered one shared disk attached to the both the VMs, and after that I'm adding as a clustered shared disk. Adding as a clustered shared disk. So how to perform it in Azure portal? First of all, we should create a disk, shared disk. We need to create it. How to create it? Through GUI, certain level we can create it, but certain level means we can create a disk. I can show you disk. Go to the disk, create, and from this place, and we can this is a region. Okay, selected something shared disk I can mention, and it's a zone wise. I don't require, no infrastructure required, suppose example, and it's the disk. Okay, none, and the size is a, I can mention something 500 GB example, and encryption nothing, networking nothing. I am not going to change it. Advanced, in the advanced you can see enable share disk. Click on S, maximum share. How many VMs you need to attach it that same disk? I want attached to the 2 or 3. Depends on the size of the disk, it will support it. Maximum is a 10 VMs, it supported 10 shares. Okay, so but depends on the size, guys. You can see here that size, and show you maximum share here, maximum 10. Right now, up to creating the disk, okay, but attaching, it's not possible through GUI. Through portal, it's not possible. We must ensure through Cloud Shell or Azure CLI or Azure PowerShell, through command line only we can able to achieve it. So that's the reason already have that commands, PowerShell commands. I'm going to run it accordingly. It's creating the disk, share disk, as well as attaching to the both the VMs. Both the VMs, it's going to attach it, guys. So let's show you. So this is a resource group, and location of the disk, how much GB of disk I required, and the disk name is a shared disk I mentioned, and the number of like Windows cluster nodes attached to the two And if it is a availability set, if you are using both the VMs is a availability set, it's a premium LRS, it's okay. But if you are two VMs is running two different zones, zone level, the disk cluster shared disk should be in the ZRS, zone redundant storage, like that we required. So that is the importance of this is a one SKU type should be depends on the requirement we should go. Okay, remaining commands, it's creating the disk here, and after that it's attaching the disk to node 1, attaching the disk to node 2, like that it's available, these commands. So one by one commands I'm going to run it. Copy, and here this is my cloud shell command line. Shift insert button, so properly it will paste it. Enter, and here same like one by one command I'm going to copy, guys. You need to bear with me. So shift insert location east US. Okay, and disk size next, that is in GB. Disk size in GB. Shift insert. So the disk size equal to is everything. It's a variable, guys. Okay, and disk name share disk, that is a one. Okay, enter, and after that number of node to attach it, that is a I want is a 2 only. Okay, enter, and after that it's I required because of the both the VMs is available in the availability zone. That's the reason I'm going to choose it. SKU type premium ZRS. Okay, so premium ZRS, that SKU type, and next it's creating disk configuration. There is a one. Copy the command. So you can see disk config, new AG disk config, location, SKU type, creation option is a empty disk, disk size, it's a variable wise 512 GB, and maximum share 2 shares. That is a configuration I provided. And next command is a creating the disk. This is a command is a creating the disk. The data disk I want is a created. And in this, it's a new AG disk and resource group, where is a variable youtube.lab.org. Disk name is a here shared disk we provided here, and disk is a disk config. What is the configuration we provided above? That command it's going to take it totally. So cannot bind the argument parameter disk name because this is a empty string. Okay. New agent. So here we are getting the problem, guys. Disk cannot bind the argument to parameter disk name. Disk name, where is the disk name? This is a one. It's a properly is available. Disk name because it is a empty string. Okay. Okay, let me check it. This is a issue with this. I will take it like this and copy. I will remove it. Dollar. That name is a shared disk 01, like that. I will provide it. 01, close it and enter. And again, I will run disk config, that is a one time. And after that, disk name data disk, I'm going to run again. Okay, now it's a disk is going to create it, guys. That shared disk. Let's go to the portal, and it's we can see here shared disk is a should be created. It's take a little bit time, definitely. So don't worry, I can show you that shared disk. And now we need to attach the disk to the both the nodes. So first of all, variable wise, I'm providing copy, insert, enter, and second VM also copy, okay. And next here add Azure shared disk to cluster node 1. So this is the first VM for this. I'm going to run it, these commands. And you can see here that command. Okay, cannot validate the argument name. Okay, name that argument. Hyphen name. Okay, no problem. I understand the problem. So here dollar, what I given dollar is a not right way. Win cluster 01. Here win cluster 02. Okay, and again run the command. This is a one. Good. Cluster VM1 and enter. Okay. So the resource compute virtual machine win cluster 01 under resource group of YouTube dot was not found. More details. Okay. So win cluster 01, it's really it's available under that exactly or not. That is a problem here. And it's, oh, that's a problem, guys. And you can see here and copy and go to the here. So let me change it. The commands here, instead of resource group, I will provide the, instead of variable, I will provide the directly resource group name in inverted commas. So exactly not able to find out. That is a problem with this. Um, Copy and shift insert. I think it should be work now. Yes. And same like it's anywhere, it's again resource group. Yes, here resource group. I will going to use it. This is a variable wise. Okay. And second command, add AGVM data disk VM and the name of the disk and creation option, manage disk. Okay, good. And this is a, I'm not seeing any issue. Let's see, hope the best. And shift insert and enter. It's a LUN 0 wise. It's going to attach it. Okay, good. And it's updating the disk to node 1. Copy and shift insert. Okay, enter. Now it's updating the disk to cluster win cluster 01. Even I can show you. Go to the VMs and it's still it's not updated. And let's wait for complete this update here. And after that, I can go and show you that VM level. And in between time, let's say is a cluster 02. It's available this you and copy and might be it's provided properly. That's the reason. And inverted commas. Let me change the here my script little bit change. Let me copy and paste it. This is a one above one. Copy and paste it. Okay, good. And I'm good. And still it's updating. It's taking time to attach to the disk to first win cluster 01 VM. Yes. It's a completed for VM1 cluster win cluster 01 VM and cluster 2 VMs. And again, I'm going to run it. This is a second. This is a commands shift insert. Okay. And next, second command on this for node 2. In the node 2 also same learn guys, same learn. I want to use it. Okay. And next it's attaching the disk, updating in the VM level. So shift insert and enter. Now it's attaching to the second VM also. Please wait for few seconds. It should be complete the updating the one. In between time, I'm going to show you, go to the Win cluster 01 and disk, and you can see share disk 01 and 512 GB of the disk. It's already attached to as a LUN 0. Okay. So same like it's needs to be updated to the cluster Win cluster 02. Yes, it's completed. And go to the cluster 02 VM and the same like disk is updating. Yes, share disk, same disk, 512 GB share disk attached to the both the VMs, guys, both the VMs. If you click on share disk and it's this is one I'm going to remove it, and you can see two VMs managed by two VMs. It's showing. Click on the two VMs properties, and it's going to uh, owners of the disk is a Win cluster 01 and Win cluster 02. Both the VM names it's showing. Okay, good. After that, we should go to the OS level, any node, and right now disk is not showing. Why? Because of it's a empty disk. We need to disk format disk mgmt.msc and go to this one. Yes, it will show you like this and GPT format, partition table. Okay. And after that, it's unallocated space and new simple volume. And it's next. Here, it's generally depends on, generally we can use the NTFS, but depends on requirement. You can go with the REFS also, file system format, we can go. So right now, I don't require, and NTFS is enough for me. And I'm going with the NTFS is a formatting the disk. So now format the disk here and go to the here and new volume it's showing is a 511 GB. Same thing if you go to check it, second VM, minimize the server manager and disk file and file system, nothing showing, and open the disk mgmt.esc and here showing GPT. Yes, okay. And here also showing same thing and new simple volume and click on next, same thing, finish it. Formatting from this place also. Yes, that is a done. So now refresh it. The disk is showing here. Now the disk I want to attach to the cluster manager. So the disk is ready, guys. And disk management open. Yes, it's here. Add a disk, and only one disk it's showing. That 512 GB of disk is both the nodes is available. That's the reason it's showing that is a one. Click on OK, and it's creating as a shared disk, cluster shared disk available under cluster 0 node 1. And if you go to this PC and you can see that symbol also it's showing both the nodes attached this disk. That's the reason two nodes icon it's showing. So totally this is a one, and at a time one node only can able to do read and write operation. One node only at a time is a read and write operation. It will perform it, guys. And if you go to the second node and the file system, and you can't see the disk, because of He's a owner node 1. That's the reason in the node 1 only you can see it. Whenever it's a failover to second node, and at that time that shared disk we can see here, and we can't see in the node 1. So that's the way it work. That's the way it work, guys. So at a time we can't. One disk at a time, one node only. So this is a basic fundamental, that one, and it should be work like that, guys. Okay, so that's about totally this video, Windows Server 2016 failover cluster setup on Azure platform, as well as cluster share disk, how to attach to the VM. Same procedure for creating the shared disk and attach to the 2019 server or 2022, 2020, 2012, and any VM, same like that in Azure platform. In Azure platform, we can do it. If you like this video, please like and comment and share with your friends. And if you are new to my channel, please subscribe. Thank you, everyone.